Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is George. I chose to do my informational speech on the Qatar 2022 World Cup. Just a little bit of background for those of you that don't really know much about soccer, about the World Cup. The World Cup is the biggest tournament in soccer. It happens every 4 years, consists of 32 countries. The current winners are France. They won it in 2018 when it was in Russia. Hosting the tournament is a pretty big deal, whether you're big in soccer or not. The added revenue to your country definitely makes it incentivizing to have. You bring in famous people, you bring in tourists, a lot of celebrities get to come in. Local markets, small businesses get to increase their prices, so like that there's more revenue streams added for the country in general, so it's pretty incentivizing to have. So in 2010 there was a bid for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups. 2018 it was just European countries running, which is interesting because a continent can't host back-to-back World Cups. So countries like the US and Qatar figure, let's run in 2022 for that World Cup so we have a better chance of winning versus competing with the European countries 2018. So Russia won 2018, and then 2022 it was USA, Japan, and South Korea, which actually jointly hosted a World Cup in 2002 that was very successful, so they were considered big contestants for this. And then Qatar. So what ended up happening was somehow Qatar won, and everybody after that started questioning, well, why Qatar, how Qatar? There was so much other good options. Like I said, South Korea and Japan had hosted a good World Cup in 2002, and the U.S. has the infrastructure ready for us to be able to take it on immediately, and there wouldn't be any new buildings to have to build for the World Cup. So there was definitely questions for that. At the time they won in 2010, the final, which is going to be in the city of Lusail Stadium, the city for the final had not been built yet. So there was a lot of questions as to, you gave it to somebody, the whole stadium hasn't been built, and the city at the stadium is going to be built and also hasn't been built. So definitely a lot of questions about timelines and stuff like that. After they won, some investigations took place, and then in 2015 they ended up finding that there was a significant corruption in how they got selected the World Cup. 11 of the 22 committee members in the World Cup selection, and at this point have either been fined, suspended, or banned for life by FIFA. One of the banned is Sepp Blatter. He was the president at the time that this happened. He didn't get banned for life. He got banned for 8 years completely from soccer. That was definitely a pretty big punishment. And there was a lot of corruption in general that ended up getting Qatar the World Cup. People were asking, hey, is there going to be a rebid? The U.S. is able to take it on immediately. At this point in time, we hadn't been given 2026, which we were given recently. So there was questions as to should they move the World Cup to the U.S. or not. Ended up not happening up to this point. We still have 2.5 more years till they actually have the successful World Cup. So we'll see what happens there. There are definitely some obstacles in terms of building the World Cup for a country that has little infrastructure like Qatar for soccer stadiums. The temperature is really high. On the months of June and July, it's between 95 and 113. So there's definitely some challenges there with construction. A lot of labor laws that you can't work from the hours of noon to 3. So you kind of see how, even though there's 12 years from the election to the World Cup, some obstacles that can come up from them having to build the whole city in a temperature of 110 degrees. What they actually ended up finding in 2014 was that the World Cup, which in its 100 years has always taken place in June, July, can't even be played in those months. They actually ended up having to move it to a November, December timeframe in 2022 because it's too hot to be able to play soccer games during the summer in Qatar. And then there's also a lot of debts for some reason, as you can see in the chart, in the last slide. There's a lot of debts compared to other similar sized tournaments in countries in recent times, whether it be the games in Sochi, whether it be the World Cup in Brazil. Definitely a lot of debts in Qatar taking place. They project that total debts of migrant workers there constructing the World Cup would be about 4,000, which is a pretty big number, which makes you wonder really, should it have ever been in Qatar? So in terms of the final status, it's looking like it should be ready for 2022. If there's a stadium that's not ready for the World Cup, they should have enough to be able to move games and have enough stadiums to be able to have everything set, which is likely going to be the case of one stadium not being ready. But it should be ready for 2022, and we hope to see them host a successful World Cup. Thank you, everybody.